this is May and welcome back to my channel for a brand new speed build. So today I am building the Landgraab's, a new mansion in Oasis Springs for my save file. And I've been working on this for a couple of months already now, and I'm so happy to finally be able to share it with you all. And seeing as the Landgraab family is notoriously wealthy and they own a lot of different buildings and areas in the Sims world, I wanted to build them a grand house here in Oasis Springs. So I've kept them on their original lot, and they originally had a more modern home, albeit not that good in my opinion. But yeah, it was built with only base game, so there's not a lot to choose from. Arguably, it is still very well possible to make a decent looking base game build. Don't get me wrong, but for my save file, I haven't put too many pack restrictions. So the only thing I'm not using is any of the kits or Journey to Bit 2. So before I started this build, I was debating whether to make them a modern home, sort of like their home used to be, but make it better, obviously, or to go more in a Mediterranean mission sort of style direction for them that also works really well for this desert world. And in the end, I leaned more towards the Mediterranean style. I remember when I first started my save file and I was going to start on the Dina Caliente house, which is just across from the one we're working on today. I remember saying that I felt really intimidated to do a Mediterranean inspired build because it's very much out of my comfort zone. I'm not too familiar with this style personally, and I had never really been able to make a build like that look good. And now I've started to really enjoy making these types of builds, and also the Adobe inspired builds. It feels very refreshing, and I absolutely love doing builds in Oasis Springs in general now because it's a very versatile world. You can do so many different styles here and it works well. So you can do modern builds, you can do mid-century modern, and I've done all of these styles in the save file, but I've tried to keep the styles to its separate neighborhoods, but I might just need to mix them up a bit, especially the neighborhood where I've done some Adobe inspired houses. So far, I've now started to do more like Mediterranean inspired houses as well, so I'm really excited about putting everything together and being able to show you the final product in the end. And yeah, I'm glad I've been able to figure out this sort of style that we're doing today. And by the way, I built majority of this build over on Twitch while live streaming. It's not very often that I start builds on stream. It's just, I don't know, I feel like I put a lot of pressure on myself on the spot like that, so I often make a shell ready at least so that I kind of know what I'll be building that day on stream. But this one I actually somehow made it work. Arguably I did bulldoze a lot at least once, and then I kind of got the hang of it. And I started this months back, like I mentioned earlier. It's taking me a while, but since it is such a huge build, I kind of lost interest around the time I had to start the second floor interior, and usually when that happens, I take a break from the build and I focus on something else. I start something else, like I might just start an entirely new build, maybe a bit smaller of course. And I think I went back and looked at this build like maybe 2 weeks ago or something, and I decided to redo the entire second floor, like the floor plan, because it just didn't work for me. But I kept the placement of some of the rooms that I've already done, but I think the newer one, the final one, just made a bit more sense to me, and I felt inspired to come back to furnish the rest, and I'm really glad that I did that. At this moment though, I'm just trying to figure out the shape of the entire house. I think it took me a while to do that actually, because the house itself is really big. It's gonna have a lot of rooms. And then I'll be adding some plants, doing the landscaping, all of that on the outside. Along with the main house, I'll be adding a guest house in the back. It's on the left side of the lot, and this was supposed to be a 2-story house like the one in the back there. But this one I also did alter, so I removed a floor to just make it less spacious, to be honest. Like, it was enough with the one floor in my opinion. And I imagine that house could be used as either a guest house for when the Landgraab's have family or friends staying over, or it could very well be for a butler as well. Because if there's one family I would imagine to have a butler, it would definitely be the Landgraab's. Yeah, I just can't see Nancy or Jeffrey doing any of the housework around here in this house. So either a butler that lives here on the lot, or at least a maid that comes to clean every day is what I would imagine. There's not a lot of actual garden work you can do here, but I do believe you can hire a gardener to take care of your garden plots as well, like the vegetables, herbs, fruits, berries, and all that. And if I'm not mistaken, I did put 2 trees here in the big garden planters in the backyard. It might be lemon trees or something similar, but nothing else. I think like no other spot that you can grow your own like stuff. But now that I'm talking about the backyard, there will be a large pool in the back, and this lot is big in itself, and sometimes I struggle with knowing what to put on that big empty space, and for sure the Langraab's would have a pool in their home. Realistically, they would probably have someone to clean the pool and take care of it as well. And just by the pool, I put some sun loungers. It seems like the perfect spot to get a tan or just enjoy the outdoors in the sun. They are living in a desert world after all, so definitely there's going to be a lot of sun here. Gotta make sure to put on that sunblock as well, you know. And if you watch some of my previous speed builds in the save file as well, and if that house has a pool, the one thing that I've started to do is use this storage box from the horse ranch pack actually, because I imagine you need space to store things for a pool so that it's not all over the place. And this storage box is just, it looks really nice next to a pool. I think I got this idea from Jessica Pye, if I'm not totally mistaken, like in one of her speed builds that I watched, she did use the same item, and then I started using it all the time myself. So I put 2 of those here with some bench space. I added a space for barbecuing, which is needed here as well. There's going to be some dining space with an umbrella, and then I feel like I never really used the pergolas in the game, but this was a perfect spot for it. So there's this beautiful base game pergola, I do believe, in the back with some outdoor sofas and armchairs beneath it. And yeah, just like a few different places to just exist outside, really. But I really do like how the outside of this home turned out in general. There is also this porch or balcony area in the front as well. You can either access it using the outdoors stairs, or you can obviously access it from the inside. But I just think the general idea and look of it kind of looks nice. And it does have some sort of like a cover as well, like above it. So I just used one of these like really short fences from base game and just made a nice pattern. And then I do believe I put some greenery on top of it as well. And talking about the front of the house, before you enter the house, there is like this hallway from the front of the house to the side of it where that staircase is. It's something that I haven't done before, to be honest, and it is nice to do something different. Like same goes for going outside of your comfort zone, do styles you don't usually do, or styles that intimidate you. So that's what I've done with this whole build, to be honest. And I'm glad I did it. Otherwise, who knows what the Landgraab Mansion would have ended up looking like. But yeah, if you played The Sims for a long time, or you're just familiar with the lore coming with the game, you probably know of the Landgraab family and their history. But they've been part of the Sims franchise since forever, basically. They were in Sims 2, Sims 3, now Sims 4, and they've also been featured in several spin-offs for various consoles like PlayStation 2, such as Sims Bustin' Out, even though they were like different, like other family members of the Landgraab family instead of the ones that are in Sims 4. But yeah, I remember playing Bustin' Out, but not too much, because I don't think I was ever able to fully finish it, but my goodness, I really enjoyed a lot of the Sims spin-offs for both console and handheld, especially Sims Herbs in the City on Game Boy Advanced. I played that one a lot, and I think I finished it a couple of times, and now it's just been such a long time since I last played it. But I do have really great memories of that game, and I remember whenever there were words in English I didn't understand, because I played this when I was a kid or preteen and English is not my first language. But when I came across English words I didn't understand, I would either bring out the good old dictionary or I would use Google Translate, because I think this was probably like in the very early stages or something of Google Translate. So you could say I learned some English from playing it. But yeah, I just love the story and quests coming with that game, and generally coming with the Sims spin-offs. Like Castaway on PlayStation 2 was great, same with just the regular Sims 2 on PlayStation 2. Like I feel like I've spent so many hours playing the storyline mode of that game, and I love the different maps you could go to as you progressed in the story, which does remind me, and I'm going a bit off track here for a bit, but My Sims, if you remember that game, is back on Switch now. So they have decided to make a remastered version of the original My Sims and My Sims Kingdom that was originally both on Nintendo DS and Nintendo Wii. And I've been so lucky to be able to receive a free code via the EA Creator Network. So thank you to EA for providing me with that. And I just sat down, I just downloaded it, and I played a bit of the My Sims Kingdom one because I had never played that before. I played a bit of My Sims on Wii actually, and I like how it's going so far. I can tell like the game is catered toward probably younger, like a younger audience than myself. But it really brings back a lot of memories. And yeah, I'm excited to explore My Sims again, to be honest. And if I don't remember wrong, I think the Sims team did say they were going to continue the My Sims series, as in make a new game in the franchise. So I'm curious about how that's gonna go. But I do remember my favorite was My Sims Agents though, on Wii as well. So I was very much a big fan of the more story-based and quest-based Sims games, and as I've been talking about this, you can probably hear that I've been obsessed with Sims for a while, and that is true now that I think back at it. Like I played a lot of Sims, which just makes it more surreal that I'm now sitting here doing this voiceover and sharing this build that I've done in The Sims. But yeah, it's looking bright for our Sims spin-offs again. I hope it's going to be good. But I've been saying for a while that I'd love to get new Sims spin-off games on Switch especially. So I'm curious to see the road ahead. And I don't know why, but I'm kind of hopeful EA will remaster The Sims 1 and Sims 2 as well, because I don't see why they wouldn't, because remastering games has been pretty big the last couple of years. Like I think Final Fantasy has done it, for example. I know that Persona has done it. And I'm sure a lot of Sims players, especially those of us who are a bit older now and actually played the original Sims games when they came out, we would appreciate it a lot if we could get Sims and Sims 2 back, but with the necessary updates to play it on newer computers and operating systems. And I know for sure that I would play it. So if EA is not already planning to do that, then they should definitely add it to their business plan. And I'm sure players who got into Sims at a later stage would love to play the older Sims games as well. There's just something really nostalgic about them, to be honest, even though arguably they weren't the best in a few different ways, in my opinion. Like a couple of features we take as granted these days, like neighborhood aging. That wasn't a thing in Sims 1 or 2. Or in Sims 2, if you left a lot to go to a community lot, it would pause time on your home lot. So let's say if you go to the club at 8 p.m. and you stay there until the morning, and when your sim went back home, it would still be 8 p.m. So that's something that I vividly remember from the last time I played Sims 2, and that's a couple of years ago at this point. But those things just like stuck with me, and I found it kind of frustrating, like going back to the newer games, and then I would see like this is a feature that we actually didn't have back then. I did hear you can fix it with mods though, if I'm not mistaken, but I never really dabbled with custom content and mods until The Sims 4, to be honest. But yeah, those sort of fundamental details weren't always included in the older games, but I would like to stay hopeful. I hope they will bring it back, like remaster those games, because I think it would really hit off. And that was just me going off track there for a moment, being distracted. But we've got the time today because today's video is a longer one. But yeah, do let me know if you're planning on getting the remastered My Sims game, or if there are any other Sims spin-offs you'd like to see return, perhaps on Switch. And yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts on that, and especially if you would like to see a remastered Sims 1 and Sims 2 on PC Mac, because I would for sure like to see that. But yeah, I was talking about the Landgraab family. They're very well known in the Sims games for owning like commercial properties and such, as you could probably tell by their name. So in the Landgraab family here in The Sims 4, we have Nancy and Jeffrey who are married, and then they have a son called Malcolm. In the previous games, I do believe we used to follow Malcolm as an adult, but now Malcolm is actually a teenager living with his parents still. And out of Nancy and Jeffrey, it was actually Jeffrey who changed his last name to Langraab because it's Nancy's family who runs things in this town, and it just seemed more fitting to bring the Landgraab family name onto Malcolm, like it's their legacy after all. But there is a theory that Johnny Zest is another son of Nancy and Jeffrey. So Johnny is another pre-made that comes with base game, and he lives in Oasis Springs as well, but he lives in a trailer house in one of the other neighborhoods. And in the game, it doesn't say that they are related, like it doesn't even say it in their family tree. So there's really not any connection between them. But Johnny's biography says that his family disowned him when he announced his intention to become a professional comedian, and that subsequently he now uses his stage name all the time, hence the name Zest instead of Langraab. And it's not specified whether he's the son of Nancy and Jeffrey or they're related in another way, but I want to make this canon in my save file. However, Johnny won't be a comedian, but more like a musical artist or DJ, like something like that. And he's going to live in someone's garage, turned into a small apartment. So that's my plan for him. But I don't know whose house that will be yet, but I feel like it could be his friend's family's house in Oasis Springs or anything like that. But I will of course talk more about Johnny when I do his home in the future. But that was just a little something about him so that you know that I haven't forgotten about him, and I intend on including him in the save file. But yeah, Nancy's not on good terms with Johnny. Meanwhile, Jeffrey is a bit more permissive about the whole thing. Like, Nancy is definitely the more controlling one of the two. Like, they're not exactly equals, maybe because of their different family backgrounds and where they come from. And I think Jeffrey has always just accepted that, even though it shouldn't really be that way. But it's not really good luck on Jeffrey either to just have accepted the fact that Johnny is getting kicked out and in that way disowned by his family. But I'll start off by talking about Nancy. I've already said a little bit about her, but yeah, I have given her a little makeover as I have with everyone else in my save file, and I'll show you a little picture of her on the screen now so you can see as well. I try not to do too much with the pre-made Sims' faces, but I actually cannot remember if I did anything to Nancy's face, maybe just some small adjustments here and there. I did at least give her an updo hairstyle, very sleek, and I went back and forth between a lot of different hairstyles, but I think this one suits her. And as for her everyday outfit, I gave her this more like formal suit from my wedding stories. That's her kind of like boss lady outfit. Then there is actually a second outfit which is still fancy but just a bit more like casual dress. I won't be able to show all of their outfits, of course, so that's just something you will have to explore yourself if you do get this save file after I have posted the first version of it. And yeah, I decided to change Nancy's career. She's actually a criminal in the original save file, but I switched her over to the business career instead. so that she is a CEO, and I felt like it fit better for the whole property owning aspect of the Landgraab's. So she is the CEO of the family business now, basically. However, I wouldn't be surprised if there was some kind of shady business going on in their company nonetheless. And speaking of owning properties, that is something you can do if you have the for rent expansion pack. And I'd like the Langraab's to own some residential rentals, particularly the 3 houses on one lot that I recently built and published as a speed build here on the channel. So that lot is where the Calientes, Don Lothario, and one of my own original sim households live, and did actually give Nancy the 5-star property owner aspiration, so it would be interesting to see how that goes. And seeing as she is a CEO, I thought it was only appropriate to use one of the many rooms in this house as her office. So she does have a simple yet luxurious looking office where she essentially can have meetings with clients or just work in peace. And then I did give her the workaholic lifestyle as well, so that kind of goes hand in hand. And I've literally just thought of adding lifestyles to my Sims in the save file in the last speed build, I think, actually. And the way I'm adding these is not through gameplay, but I used the UI cheats mod by... I actually cannot think of their name at the moment, but you can just type in the Sims 4 UI cheats mod into your preferred search engine, like Google, for example, and then it will probably be the top results for UI cheats mod for the Sims 4. But I did at least get it on their Patreon, and there's different things in the user interface, the UI, that you can right mouse click and then you can modify them, such as the money, the time and weather, skills, and so on. And I think it's really handy for when I'm building and taking screenshots as well, because I usually change the weather to heat wave if you have the seasons pack, and then I might change the time to get like a better lighting on the lot for the pictures. So I would definitely recommend that if you are on PC or laptop and you want just like a simple mod, if you do use mods, of course. And you can use it for gameplay as well. Another thing I will be adding is the frequent traveler lifestyle to Nancy as well. She will be into wellness and skiing, so I got the idea that the Landgraab's probably have their own cabin in Mount Komorebi that they go to every holiday or so they can go skiing, go to the onsen, like the Japanese bathhouse, if you're not familiar with that term, and other like snowy activities that you can do there. And I just thought of adding the ice rink from Seasons on that big park lot in Mount Komorebi, like up in the snowy area. I don't think I've ever built on any of the snowy lots there before, so I'll definitely need to get on with that eventually as well. I'm just really excited to get like build everywhere in every world. So that's definitely another idea that I need to note down for later. And I realized I never mentioned Nancy's traits, but they're going to be materialistic, snob, and ambitious. I actually didn't change any of those from her original traits because I thought they fit her as they were. But one thing that I did change or add is that she's going to be a 4-star celebrity. So her family is quite well known, and if you get famous, you might know that once you advance in the fame system, like you become more famous, you'll eventually get these different quirks that aren't always good. So for Nancy, I chose the vain quirk and the no touching quirk, which I think fit her character well. She's just like very snobby like that, but I kind of get it. Like if you're a celebrity, you probably wouldn't want just random people touching you, you know? So yeah. And I've mentioned this in some of my previous speed builds for my save file, which by the way, I do have a playlist for on my channel if you weren't aware. That playlist will have all of my save file speed builds in them, so if you want to check out more after this one, you know where to find it. But yeah, I've said before that I'd love to expand certain pre-made Sims' families, so I thought that it would be fun to add more members to the Landgraab family tree. So Nancy is going to have a sister called Queenie who will live in Brindleton Bay with her family. So I decided to use the name Queenie because according to The Sims Wikipedia, Nancy's mom was called Queenie, and I like that name. It's unique, and I totally believe the Landgraab's would call their kids after themselves. They just seem like a family who would do that, and I'd love to do this like big Hamptons inspired house for Queenie and her family in Brindleton Bay, perhaps on the biggest lot there. The 64 by 64 lot in Brindleton Bay is actually, I think, the biggest lot I've built on the most times. I've built there 2 times before. Like one time I did a pack restricted home, actually, so only base game and cats and dogs. And the second time I did more like an autumnal home for a collab that I did with some of my fellow Simmer content creator friends, and I don't think I ever did any speed builds of them actually, because at that time I was so intimidated to do speed builds of a 64 by 64 lot. But now though, I feel like I have a better grip on how to go on about making the speed build, like how to do the footage and how to easily edit the video without spending hours and hours cutting away the unnecessary parts and it just ending up looking weird and out of place. But yeah, I'd love to do another home on that big Brindleton Bay lot for sure. And I've talked a lot about Nancy just now, so I'll just slowly sneak my way over to our dear fella Jeffrey instead, who is Nancy's husband. I feel like he gets overlooked a lot in Nancy's presence. He's definitely not as intimidating as his wife, and they're quite different if I'm going to be honest, and I'm not too sure how they ended up together. He's more down to earth than Nancy, and he actually has the good trait originally, but I decided to switch it out for genius because he's going to be in the tech guru career. He also has the family oriented and outgoing traits, which I haven't touched. But yeah, he'll be an IT guy in my save file. So the thing with the original Langraab family storyline is that Jeffrey is a secret agent and Nancy is a criminal, and I do believe they're both supposed to be unaware of each other's true careers. Like they're very opposite of each other in that sense as well. And Jeffrey's supposed to be this secret agent who's going after the criminals, you know, aka Nancy. And I actually had not read their biography before I changed their careers, or I might have, but I've forgotten about it. But yeah, I'm not really the biggest fan of the secret agent career in The Sims, to be honest. I don't really think I've ever played with it. And another career I rarely play with is the astronaut one, but I really want to make an astronaut with like a rocket ship in their backyard or something like that. Like, it's a bit strange, but it's The Sims, and that's definitely something I want to do. But yeah, preferably on maybe in one of the desert worlds. I feel like it seems fitting there. And yeah, so Jeffrey is now at like in the tech guru career. He is at level 7. So this career has 2 branches, one which is an esports gamer branch, which I never knew by the way, because we kind of do have something similar in the other packs. But this career is in base game, and the other branch is the startup entrepreneur branch, and that's the one that I chose for Jeffrey. So it's basically an IT startup company, I would say. And I did choose to make sort of like a home office for Jeffrey. Again, I just had too much space in this house, so some of these rooms just had to be included. There's going to be an office for him with a couple of tables and chairs, computers, a whiteboard for ideation and plans and all of that. Plus, I found like this server-like object from Stranger World that I just felt inclined to use. It just seemed really fitting. And I'll show you his makeover on the screen, by the way. I forgot to show you. But yeah, he's looking more stylish now, more fit for this warm weather and his status, I'd say. He's got these more soft muted colors. I really like this soft green color his shirt is here. And he's got like a new haircut. And I absolutely love this hair from Parenthood. I think it is. I've used it a lot and it's a great styled hairstyle. And he's got a new facial here. I can't remember where exactly that beard is from at the top of my head, but I do think he looks better now, right? And he didn't really look like a secret agent before, now that I think about it. If anything, he could pass as one now, to be honest. But do we know a lot about Jeffrey's background though? So for the pre-mates, I usually look up some information to talk about for my speed builds and the voiceovers because I feel like I'm not really the best at talking about just to build. Like I need something more to talk about, so I talk about the Sims instead. But there wasn't a lot to find about Jeffrey, but at least I know that when high school years the expansion pack got released, the Sims team did this high school like yearbook for some of the most known premates in The Sims, and it said that Jeffrey's last name is Osteer, like Osteer, and I thought that was a pretty cool marketing idea for that pack, and it's nice to see some of the Sims we all know and love or hate as younger versions of themselves, and in that photo it also looked like Nancy had gotten a nose job. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if she did. But yeah, I feel like Jeffrey just came from like any other regular family, really, and he somehow ended up marrying into the Landgraab family and into like a heap of wealth. Yeah, I feel like Nancy and Jeffrey probably met when they were young. Maybe they crossed paths in university or something similar, and Nancy's parents probably didn't approve of Jeffrey at first, or maybe even ever while they were still alive. And that has probably weighted down on Nancy. She's probably had like a strained relationship with her parents because of her choice to marry Jeffrey instead of someone from another really wealthy family. And like going against your parents like that is a bold move though. But Jeffrey's, I feel like he's turned out great, I would say. He's doing great career wise, like he's made a name out of himself as well. Although it would never outdo anything the Landgraab's have done. So yeah, maybe they've had that sort of a storyline. Of course, that's just something I have come up with. Yeah, last but not least, we have Malcolm Langraab. He's this like evil, geeky teenager that's the perfect mix of both his parents. I don't know exactly what he would personally like to achieve in the future, but at the moment he's very much into video gaming, like streaming, and he even has his own attached streaming room to his bedroom actually. But I feel like he might go into the criminal career to take over the family business, but bring it further down into like the shady business side of it, or he could go a totally different direction, even though I don't think his parents would like that very much, at least not Nancy. She would not like it if he decided to go all in with being a simfluencer or go into his dad's business, like with IT and all. He's like meant to take over the family business in Nancy's eyes, and she's very much trying to make that happen. At least he is on the computer team in high school though. So that's an after school activity you can attend if you have the high school years expansion pack. And he's won like this award. I don't remember exactly what you have to do gameplay wise to get it, but maybe just show up to the club and you get these pop-up events. But anyway, he's just got that trophy standing in the bookshelf that's in the background of his stream, so kind of like showing off his achievement a bit, which is all good. It's all okay to be proud of yourself for what you've achieved in life for sure, but he's just got it in the back there. And he's also got his very own wall-mounted TV in his bedroom. He's got a great view of the backyard as well. And I'm happy with how his bedroom turned out. It's very blue and this kind of like brown reddish color, which is a color combo I've figured I like, but I don't think I've done it a lot before. And he's got like these techie stuff here and there, like headphones, a camera, a gaming console, and so on. Got some posters on the walls, and I tried to make it look like a teenager is actually living in that room, you know. And now that I think about it, Malcolm might go to university when he grows up into a young adult. And one thing you can actually get a degree in is mischief. Yes, that's actually a degree you can get in The Sims 4. But with that degree, you get perks for certain jobs, such as the criminal career, which would fit him. So I feel like he's sort of at a point in his life where he stands between different choices. much like his older brother Johnny did when he was younger too. But that's going to be all up to you if you do decide to play with the Landgraab's in this save file. I am, however, running out of time to talk about this family and build though. I realize I haven't almost said anything about the build in general, but hopefully you've been watching and seeing it all come together in its full glory. I do think that people just put on speed builds and listen to voiceovers while doing other things though. I appreciate you nonetheless. Whether you're just tuning in, listening, or watching the video and the build come together. I know for sure that I sometimes when I build, I turn on a video and I more just listen to people talk rather than watching the video. And I think that's really comforting and cozy. But yeah, I'd just like to quickly say that in this house there are two different living rooms, one with a TV and another with a bar and karaoke machine and a dance floor. So more like an entertainment room. Then we have a library or study room. We have the kitchen, a very big kitchen, and also a dining room, which has a lot of windows. You get a nice view of the outside. There are multiple bathrooms, like hopefully your Sims will not pee themselves on this lot because there's a lot of them, a lot of bathrooms. We also have a fitness studio with a sauna attached to it, as mentioned before. Both Nancy and Jeffrey have their own offices. And lastly, there are 2 bedrooms and a room with a vault in it. If you want to store some money away, which I feel like the Landgraab's would definitely do. They would just store everything in that vault. Like I said, I had so many rooms, I didn't know what to do with them, and I had this perfectly sized room for a vault, so it just had to be included. And I can't forget the balcony with the hot tub. So that one is connected to the main bedroom, just in case the married couple would like to have a moment to themselves. I feel like it would be romantic to just be in the hot tub at nighttime watching the stars, maybe having a little drink. So I thought that was a nice idea. But yeah, other than that, I am currently finishing up the build here and will soon head into the screenshots. There's going to be a lot of screenshots of this build, so hopefully you will enjoy that. But that's basically it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content in the future. If you want to be notified of when I upload a video next, make sure to click the bell icon too. This build is playtested and up on my gallery. My ID is honeymaysims, or you can find me with the hashtag honeymaysims as well. I also do have the tray files attached in the description. So thank you all so much for hanging out with me today, and I can't wait to talk to you all in the next video. Until then, take care. Bye!